you see. That's faith, believe, that's all you need. Can't sleep, but I dream. I see.
All right, you're watching another episode of How I See It. I'm your host, DaLaun Dillard. Happy to have you here on another morning. I am joined by three powerful, talented, incredible ladies today. Honored to be interviewing you all today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Let me put some respect on y'all names and go down each one of y'all. Jermeshia Goudeau, Nicole Handy, and JaQuita Martin. Let me make sure I get it right. Thank y'all for being here. Well, y'all call yourselves sister cousins.
Yes,
I know y'all
we
are cousins
are.
and sisters. Y'all all have a brand new show that will be airing Fridays on OWN Family Empire. Following your family business, your real estate business. First of all, congratulations to you on your show.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Today is the premiere day. When this airs, though, obviously the first episode will have aired by then, but it's every Friday on 8, 7 Central. 8, 7 Central. So tell me first and foremost, I know you were approached, you were telling me a publicist approached y'all about this show. How were y'all feeling when y'all were approached to have your entire family, all your business, be out on reality TV?
We're still struggling with that one.
And they are too, you know, because here's the thing. We were approached, right? So our family was not approached. So getting them on board, number one, you know, and then also having them feel comfortable putting themselves out there, you know, so they are troopers.
They are.
You know, our husbands, even the kids, like everybody's a trooper because, like I said, nobody signed up for this but us, right? But because we are family, right? And one thing you'll see on the show is that we support one another like no other, right? So sometimes we do things that may make us uncomfortable, you know, or that we honestly don't want to do just because we're here to support one another.
So what will people expect to see? What should people expect to see on the show throughout these episodes?
You're going to expect a treat. It's going to be an emotional roller coaster. So you're going to see family. You're going to see intergenerational family. We have our grandmother, the matriarch, who is 87-year-old Oscarine Braden, who has laid the foundation, as well as my grandfather. So my grandfather, he's deceased a couple years ago, but Frank and Oscarine Braden have laid a wonderful foundation for us to build our legacy upon. So you'll see the intergenerational conflicts that we have versus how we're going to move the family legacy forward. That's one. Then you're going to be able to see the dynamics between the sister cousins. And the sister cousins, you know, we're not children anymore. You know, we used to be the kids. Now we're grown women with our own husband, our families, our lives, and then just a lot of love. You know, so it got a little mess, it got a little drama, but what family doesn't have that? But it's exciting. It's exciting.
So tell me about the real estate company, Braden Real Estate. How did this start and how did y'all get into real estate? Is this something you guys ever wanted to do from the beginning?
Yes and no, right? So Jermeshia and I say we are partners in life. I mean, growing up together, you were close in age. Everything that we've done, we've almost like done it together. So we had a corporate background, right? So we were working in corporate America, but we did express that we were interested in getting a real estate license. So, and this was what, 12 years ago? Yeah, this was 12 years ago. And so we expressed to our grandparents that we were interested in getting a real estate license. And here we are, they gave us the tuition to go to real estate school. So we went to real estate school together, but we didn't stop working in our corporate careers. It took years before we stopped working in our corporate careers. And actually, I think it was Jermeshia had got laid off, you know, and she had went to get her broker's license. And I was voluntold that we were starting real estate brokerage, by the way, you know.
She was telling that, by the way.
I was voluntold. She's like, I was voluntold. It was just, hey, we're starting a real estate brokerage today, and we're doing this. But you know, in actuality, one of the reasons why I was on board is because we had gone through 5 other brokerages, and you know, just being honest and being very transparent as Black women in this industry, we kind of experienced a lot of things. We experienced racism, you know, we experienced sexism, you know. So we got to a point where we were looking for our next brokerage. And we just couldn't find it. We couldn't find a brokerage that truly aligned with who we were as people or aligned with our core values. So, you know what they say, if you can't find it, build it, create it, you know? And that's essentially what we did. But I was voluntold, but I was on board because of that.
And so we, me and the other family members, we saw the great success that they were having with the real estate business. And we're like, look, we don't want to get left behind. And so myself, my aunt, and our Nicole's sister, we were like, hey, let's go take this real estate exam so we could be a part of the greatness as well. So we're just very proud of them, and we didn't want to get left behind, and Granny paid for our real estate school as well.
Wow. So how has it been working It's a family business, working with your family together. I know there's ups and downs. Hopefully more ups than there are downs.
Absolutely
More ups.
Definitely more ups than
Definitely more ups
to
than
ride.
downs.
Yeah, we have our highs and lows, challenges and rewards. But I will say for me, it's a little challenging because my husband works at the brokerage as well. And so these are his bosses. And when he comes home and wants to vent about his bosses, that's my sister cousins. And so I can't choose sides. I have to remain neutral. So it puts me in the middle of the crossfires. And I'm still trying to get used to all of that.
Do we see some of that in the show?
You will see
Oh,
some.
yes, you
Okay.
will. Yes, you will. It's a part of our life and our reality.
Yeah.
I just like to say the boundary between like family and
Yep.
business, like there's no boundary like with
Yep.
us. Like the line is very blurry, right? It's very gray, right? I know like
There is
Jermeshia
a
will call
line.
me at 10 o'clock at night and I literally answer the phone like, hey, I am done working for the day, you know? And she'll be like, okay, but still I need to tell you about this, you know? I'm like, so
Still
like,
gotta handle business.
there's no cutoff, right? And so, yeah, that can cause conflict sometimes, you know. But I will say this: I think we work together extremely well because we all have very different backgrounds, very different personalities, and very different strengths and weaknesses. And so, when you combine our strengths with our weaknesses, it makes a really good team.
How was it? What was the selling point for y'all? Because I imagine not everybody was 100% on board, even among y'all, when you were approached for this show. What was the selling point that said, all right, I'll do this?
Oscarine. So our grandmother, who is matriarch of our family, knowing the sacrifices that she's made in her life, from our grandparents, they come from a small town called Clarence, Louisiana, Natchitoches, Louisiana area. And just my grandfather used to, you know, pick cotton in, you know, in the cotton fields of Louisiana, and to know that they came to Houston and created a life without, you know, we're all highly educated, you know, et cetera, have certifications, degrees, but they didn't have that. They just had grit, hard work, determination, and they had family. And so people were, you know, people, to be honest, before the show approached us, people have always been telling us, y'all need a show. It's like, y'all need a show. People need to see this. And so we were excited about people seeing the great side of the story, the building the generational wealth, the legacy part of it, you know, but the reality part of it, you know, that made us nervous because we want to make sure we preserve, you know, the strength and the dignity of our family. So that part is the most challenging.
I can imagine when it comes to reality shows that can be challenging because sometimes when you look at other for example, the Braxtons, you look at other reality shows like that, sometimes the mess can then follow them off of the camera. With this, how did it bring you guys together, you feel like, in a way, your family more?
Yeah, in a lot of ways.
It definitely forced us to talk about things that we probably wouldn't have talked about if there were no cameras or no producers asking us to express how we feel about these things and things of that nature. So yeah, it did. It forced us to have some tough conversations. It forced us to have some necessary conversations. And at the end of the day, I think there was some breakthroughs that happened as a result of us being forced to have conversations. Yeah.
So I know a lot of the episodes haven't aired yet. So I don't want to get too much into it because I know you want to leave, you know, a sense of ambiguity for people to watch. What was the toughest part being on the show, if you can share, you know, for viewers?
I would say probably trying to remain our authentic selves, but not invite everyone into our true reality.
Sense of privacy.
Exactly.
There's still a line.
Yeah.
And so that, I really think that was the most challenging part for me. You do want to open up because other people are probably having the same situation, and you want to make sure that you're making yourself vulnerable to help others in that situation. But it's just like at the end of the day, you're like, man, this is my business that everybody is going to know. And so it was just trying to remain our authentic selves and still be vulnerable.
That was difficult. That was difficult, I will say.
But I did feel better about it because this is our first time ever doing this, right? So we don't know what to expect, what we can do, what we shouldn't do, what's industry standard or anything like that. But after we had wrapped up, we had went to do our marketing shoot with the Warner Brothers team. And one of the guys told me, I said, hey, you have any advice? You know, we're always looking for advice. And he said, you have to have boundaries, and it's okay to have boundaries. And, you know, us from the outside looking in, we're like, this is reality TV, you just supposed to give it all away, you know? So it was very comforting to hear that. Like even the the show creators and the people that want us to put it all out there, you know, they did say you have to have boundaries, and, you know, no matter what it is, your boundary is what your boundary is, and ensure that everybody that's working for the show respects that.
I was watching an interview that you guys did, and y'all were saying Oprah specifically was impressed with your grandmother.
Absolutely.
How did that feel?
Oh, I'm the oldest grandchild, even though you can't tell.
Black don't crack.
Yeah,
You know
don't
that.
crack.
Yes, she
So
can.
you know, I've always looked up to my grandmother. Like, I loved her. I resonated with her beauty, her Black beauty. You know how hardworking that she was, and to know that something that I've always seen and I've always admired, that you know the stage we have Oprah on in our community, the stage the world does, and to know that Oprah, somebody that I look up to so much as a role model, that she saw the same thing in my grandmother that I saw in her. So it just gave me chills. Like it was like everything was like verified, and it was a great feeling, I will say.
So I know this show, a lot of it is about generational wealth, and for y'all to have something passed on to you from your grandmother, and you don't always see that in our community. We don't have really
Trust me,
generational wealth.
we're in the real estate industry. We see generational wealth being destroyed. We've seen it being, you know, sold off, bought, sold. You know, families not being able to maintain it. So that is a big part of my passion. Because I see it happening every day in our profession.
I wanted to get into that for a second, especially because, like you said, y'all work in real estate. How tough do you see that for people in our community? When you're trying to build something, be it a house, a business, a company, because we don't really have stuff left behind for us.
No, I mean, what you see is through the death, and the death of the matriarchs and the patriarchs in the family. And when you know, those families back in the day was having a whole lot of children, you know. So then now you have, you know, the G1s, we call them G1s, those are our parents. So those were the children of Frank and Oscarine. So they have all those children, and then they have children, and trying to figure out how they maintain. And so a lot of people, just out of frustration, they just sell the properties off. And it may be a big number, like they may have made $100,000 off, but when you break that number down by 10 children and then their heirs, it's really not much left to be inherited from a generational thing. And that's why it's so important to if we could try to do this collectively, like, yeah, they could sell it. They could sell it, and it just dwindles away. But maintaining, holding on to it, and that's what I would love to see, like our Black community. That's how you pass down. It might not be, you know, yeah, everybody needs money. Like, shoot, I got a whole lot of expenses, I got a whole lot of kids, you know. Everybody needs money. But if we hold it down and hold it tight a little bit longer, the equity we can gain, you know, the way we can leverage that, it's just powerful, and I want people to see that.
And we believe a strong part of wealth, you know, generational wealth is not only just equity or funds, it's education. You know, teaching our communities how to keep these things in the family, or, you know, if you have property or assets, how to leverage them to get more assets, to, you know, get assets to start a business, to get assets to put your children through school, you know, just things of that nature. So as big as we are on the, you know, maintaining the property and the assets, also the education piece, and we believe that's truly a huge part of generational wealth as well.
Is that what motivated y'all to get into real estate too? Is just the fact that, one, I know you were saying in there, you don't see too many of us in real esate, and then it's already hard for us to get property, to get loans, to get money to even get the property to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, that was a huge part of it. One of the largest parts of it was we saw our grandparents have been, you know, when people talk about real estate investors, you know, they were investing back in the day, you know, buying rent houses, buying properties. And so we saw what they accumulated over that time. And we were really just interested in getting into it for our personal real estate investment, just to have, it was an education for us. It was like getting a degree, just to have education and understanding real estate. And since our family was in it, we wanted to be a resource because our grandparents, you know, they're savvy. They were savvy entrepreneurs, but they just did school the old school way. Okay, let's just be real. They were just buying up rent properties just to have some tenants, get a little cash flow.
Get a couple dollars.
Get a couple dollars, you know, because that's what they just did. But we wanted to make sure, like, hey, we want to bring our education, our savviness, you know, our business acumen, and be able to see how can we be a resource and help you leverage this and take this to the next level. So that was our initial. Like Nicole stated, I got laid off somewhere in there. I remember what part of the story it was in, but I got laid off, and that's when I decided to start as a realtor, you know, get into that from a realtor perspective.
So looking at your company now, when you first started it, did you imagine it would be successful?
You know what?
This was what it was. This is all we wanted to do.
Yeah, and I don't think I can talk about this because I think I talk about it on the show, and I don't think will have gotten to this episode yet. But if you look at like where we started and what we had to do just to like get an office space and like to where we are now, like
We needed a reality show then.
Exactly.
That's
We
what
needed a reality
a
show then. I mean,
then.
and just to be honest, like, I mean, we're on one of the biggest stages in the world.
Yeah.
You know, whoever thought that just showing up,
Just showing
working
up,
hard,
man.
doing what we're supposed to be doing would lead to this. You know, people are like, well, what's your secret? We're like, we just
hard work.
did what we're supposed to do. You know, go to work, you know, work hard, put your best foot forward, you know, give value, you know, have a purpose, have dreams, have goals, have core values. And then, you know, that's just what we do. And like, we never thought it would turn into this, you know?
Your gift will make room for you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what my husband tells us all the time. Like, he's one of those guys. Like, I'm like, how did we get here? I was like, we were just going to work. And he was just like, y'all don't understand. Y'all are extraordinary. I was like,
And we don't think of
baby,
ourselves that
we
way, though.
don't.
You know, we
just
don't think of
humble.
ourselves
Do
that
what
way.
we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Make our parents proud, make our grandparents proud. And, you know, you haven't asked this question, but that's what makes it worth it.
Yeah.
You know, through the filming process, and we've been able to see how proud our grandmother is.
Honey, let me tell you, that's the only thing that kept me going a couple of times.
And you would think, you know, old school people, they don't want to be in front of the camera. Like, get out of my house, leave me alone. You know, they be kind of grouchy a lot, you know, a little bit, especially at this stage of life. And she just welcomed the experience, and she is so proud. And to know that, like, however, with the ratings, I don't care, you know, I care, but I don't care about the ratings and what happens. I care about the fact that we made my grandmother proud, and that is priceless. I don't care how many ratings we get. And that's the rating that matters. It's my grandmother's.
Yeah, it's like she gave y'all the seed to start this company, and then it bloomed into a company, and then now a show, and whatever else God does for y'all in the future. How does that feel?
So when you hear the stories, like, you know, some of the stories we learned through the show, you know, we had, you know, scenes with our grandmother just telling us stories. And one story I learned was that back in the day when they were buying all this property and buying all this real estate, they paid cash for it. And we're like, that's a crazy idea. Why would you just give all your cash away? You know, leverage other people's capital, but they paid cash for it because they had no choice, because they were discriminated against in the banking institutions where they couldn't get loans and things like that. So to that makes it deeper for me, and I know it makes it deeper for all of us. Like, they struggled, you know, but they didn't let those obstacles stop them. And that's what I've learned. You will have challenges, you will struggle, you will have obstacles, people will kick you down, but never let that stop you. And I think that's the main thing that we've learned from her. Like, cause like I said, when we started this real estate brokers thing, I was like, I don't know how long we're gonna be here, right? There were challenges, you know, a lot of challenges. I mean, and I think any entrepreneur or business owner can relate to that, you know, but that didn't stop us. And, you know, and that's what we got from her. You will face challenges. There will be trials, there will be tribulations, but do not in any shape or form let them stop you.
And I think that's why we work so hard, because we're like, man, Granny and Papa, they were able to do all of this back then when there was so many obstacles to overcome. What's our excuse?
What's our excuse?
So we're like,
right
when
there.
we go into grind mode, we're like, hey, we got to get to where she's at, or even beyond that. And so that's always that's been our passion.
JaQuita, that's it. That's it right there. Like, every time I feel like challenged, or I feel the obstacles, like, I feel heavy, but I'm like, Granny and Papa did this with minimal education.
Yep.
They had so many obstacles, like institutional obstacles, not just like, you know, things are hard, kids get on my nerves, I'm tired, my husband driving me crazy. No, they had institutional, like, you know, from redlining to steering. Like Nicole said, some of the, you know, can share everything, but just talking about real estate overall and being the broker, like hearing these things and these disadvantages from, you know, the price of the land going up, because they found out, you know, it's a black owner, a black buyer, a black purchaser, not being able to get, like, that was crazy to us, knowing that, you know, they were like, you know, we were like, oh, they was like, they bought cash for everything. And we were like, that's not a flex. You need lending, you know, you need to leverage this, you know, you need, you know, try to get somebody else, you know, other people's money, OPP. And they was like, we couldn't use other people's money. So just knowing that those were the restrictions that they had, I mean, it just makes you, you know, because we're not sorry women. Like, Braden women, it's just not in us.
Y'all gonna work.
We're gonna work, and that's because, you know, sometimes it's toxic. I'm not gonna lie. you know, that's a toxic trait I think that we have. Like sometimes we don't know when to stop.
But that's what, in us being black, oftentimes that's what we got to face and do anyway. We got to work through it.
We just got to work through it. Just keep working through it. No excuses.
Y'all have talked a lot about the real estate business, and a lot of this show is how I see it. Basically, how do you see a topic or a point of view when it comes to real estate, and especially for people in the black community? What is the state of that right now when you're trying to get a house, and oftentimes we face battles that other people don't face? What do you see when it comes to your clients?
Affordability is a major issue right now, and I think it just in the that's the only thing I believe in the media when it comes to, you know, when they're talking about the housing market, because there's been a lot of inaccuracies lately about the housing market, but affordability is a challenge. And with the black consumers are about
60%.
I saw something. It was less. I saw something like 44, 40. Recently, it's some numbers that are incredibly low about the amount of, you know, consumers in housing, of ownership of black consumers in housing. So to know that the historical challenges that we've had, we're still seeing those type of challenges, and affordability, where inflation and cost of living is not increasing at the rate as home ownership. I mean, the cost of housing is. It's very, you know, discouraging, because we know that homes and housing and real estate change the trajectory of our family.
And for me, it goes back to that education piece, you know, because I just want the world to know, everybody, especially in Houston, there's a lot of programs out there to help people in black and brown communities, not black and brown people, but people that live in predominantly black and brown communities, with affordability, down payment assistance programs, grant programs. The city of Houston has several programs right now that's basically allowing people to get in homes with very little cash out of their pocket. I do say you need money to purchase a home, right? But very little cash out of their pocket. So get with people that can guide you through these things, because not only is affordability, it's lack of knowledge, lack of education, lack of awareness, and knowing what's available to you and the resources and how they can greatly benefit you.
JaQuita is a champion of the affordable space. As far as one thing I'm going to say about you, because I just love you, she, you know, real estate is truly her ministry. This is our ministry girl, okay? And you know, she sells luxury homes, but she, you know, we'll all have no problem selling in that affordable space, because we understand who our consumer is. But she takes the knowledge game from the affordable space to another level.
And I love being able to help people who really felt like home ownership was not attainable for them. And like Nicole said, a lot of times it's because of lack of education. You know, they didn't realize, oh, this is all I need. I don't need 20%, because that's something that we're still demystifying, that you don't have to have 20% to put down to buy a home. You don't have to have an 800 credit score. We can get you in a home with what you have, what you're working with. It's ways around it.
Well, I appreciate y'all giving some time to speak with me, and congratulations on your show. For people who want to watch, how can they watch?
They can watch it on the OWN TV network. That is the Oprah Winfrey Network.
Network.
For those of you that did not know, okay? So that is the OWN network, and that is Fridays, 8 p.m., 7 p.m. Central for my Houstonians, okay? You can catch us there. You can stream it. And also follow Family Empire Houston on Instagram. So yeah, we're pretty fun people to follow.
And your real estate company too, if they want to contact y'all.
Yes, absolutely. If you want to contact Braden Real Estate Group, that's at Braden Real Estate Group. You can find us on all the social media outlets. That's Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I don't think on YouTube.
We are on LinkedIn and YouTube. LinkedIn and YouTube.
We're not on Twitter.
We're not on Twitter.
We can't keep up with the tweets. We can't keep up with the tweets yet. We're going to get there. But you can find us. You can find me at Madam Broker on Instagram.
You can find me at Mrs. Nicole Handy on Instagram.
Everywhere.
And I am Realtor RX on Instagram.
That's our pharmacist and our realtor over there.
Okay. Well, you three ladies, I appreciate y'all so much. I've enjoyed talking with you.
Thank you.
Congratulations on all your success, and much more is to come.
Thank you
so much, Mom. You were awesome.
I know.
Thank you. And I appreciate y'all for joining me too. We'll see you next week for another episode. Have a good one.
You see, that's faith, believe, that's all you need. Can't sleep, but I dream. I see.